What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Lou, Wrestling 2 101. You already know what it is. Now we're going to talk about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, WWE 2012. What it is, what it was, the shit in the poo review of this show. So leave it down below, your comments, leave a bit of response. You already know what it is, so let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, this first match just proves my point that I've been saying for the longest time now, that CM Punk is just nothing but a paper champion, so is Bryan. Because guess what the first match of the card was? It was the WWE Championship match. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of that. This is a championship match, but yet it's the first match on the card? Is that what you think about CM Punk, your WWE Champion, WWE? Give me a break. Okay, as I predicted, CM Punk won. I also said I would like to have seen Jericho win, and he could have been the champ going into Mania, and CM Punk could have won the belt at Mania from Jericho. Would have actually given a reason to having Jericho versus Punk in Mania. I mean, now they're doing it for nothing just because Jericho is going to get the rematch because he never got pinned. That's stupid. Okay? He should have had Jericho win the belt, and at Mania, he could have dropped it to Punk. Okay, he would have got more people behind Punk. He could have got more over. But now, it's okay, he's a champion. So now we know at Mania he's going to win. So what's the point of having the match at Mania? You know, it's for nothing. Like, it's not going to get him any more over because he's not having to achieve anything and conquer all to get back to the top after he got screwed out of the belt. I mean, that's how you get people over. You take the bad guy, okay? Yeah, bad guy screw over good guy. Do good guy bad many times. And then at the end of it all, the good guy comes on top at the end of the day. That's how you draw money in wrestling. So I don't see why they're not doing that right here. That's what I thought logically should have happened, but I figured they would make CM Punk retain the belt here because he is somewhat of a draw for the company right now, even though he's not drawing like he should be. And that's WWE's fault. That's not his fault. I don't blame that on him whatsoever. They're the ones that screwed up his momentum and gave him the belt with no momentum at all. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, WWE is lying in their own shit right now. And this match just proved how much they care about CM Punk. It was the first match on the card, for God's sakes. I said it before, I'll say it again. When you have a championship match of that caliber, WWE Championship match, Elimination Chamber match, should it really be the first match on the card? No, it should be the last. Okay, after this, there was a backstage segment. It was one of a couple with Santino Marella. The whole Rocky thing, he was, you know, beating eggs in a cup and drinking them and shit. All that stuff. You know, they're just, you know, trying to hype him up for the match later on, which he won the Royal, over-the-top Battle Royal on SmackDown to get into the match after Randy Orton was taken out. So he's the underdog. They're trying to make him look like the underdog and this and that. And from what I expected to happen, I expected him to get thrown out at the last minute and someone else to enter the match. But that wasn't the case, but I'll get to that later. So that was a good segment. It was entertaining. It helped, you know, bring some light to the, for the majority, kind of a lackluster opening of the show. But then, of course, they kill it. They give us a John Cena video package. Yay! Who gives a shit? Okay, Beth Phoenix versus Tamina for the Women's Championship. Probably one of the better matches on the card. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I think the crowd could have been a little bit nicer. That's just my opinion. I think they went out there and they beat the crap out of each other. I mean, really, they were hitting each other hard. You know, they were taking bumps for each other. This wasn't no pansy women's match that with these little diva Barbie doll type matches WWE puts on. This is a good women's wrestling match. I enjoyed it very much so. Beth Phoenix retains. Kind of obvious here. I mean, they're trying to set up for Karma. I guess at Mania is the idea. I would think. Maybe if I'm wrong, so sue me. There's no one else for her really to go through. She's beaten everybody, so that's the only person that's left. So I'll have to see what happens. But good match. I'm not complaining about it. Okay, then we get another backstage segment with Santino, which is entertaining once again, you know, helping hype up for him being in the match later. And then we get another backstage segment. Actually, this wasn't even a backstage segment. It was actually in the ring. What am I talking about? First, you have Laurinaitis and Otunga coming out, and they're talking about how Teddy Long should not be the general manager of SmackDown, and Laurinaitis should be running both shows, and he gets the approval from Mark Henry. Who else? And Christian. Yes, Christian comes back. Talked about how he could have been in the Elimination Chamber, but Teddy Long wouldn't let it happen, blah, 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 blah. So they all want Teddy Long gone. So what are they going to do? Teddy Long versus John Laurinaitis at Mania or something? I mean, I hope that's not what they're doing. I pray. Is Teddy Long retiring or something? I mean, what's going on here? This is weird. Okay, the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. What can I say? For a match to have a 500-pound dude carry the first like 20 minutes of it before, you know, anyone actually did anything that actually made the match worth watching is pretty sad. You know, the Big Show carried this match the whole time, pretty much. The whole time he was in there, and he didn't even make it to the end, which was stupid. It should have been Daniel Bryan and Big Show at the end. There was a point where the Big Show crawled on top of Daniel Bryan's pod, broke some of the steel chains, and got through that bitch and was in there beating the crap out of Daniel Bryan. He was the last pod to actually open. His pod opened, Daniel Bryan ran out, and inevitably, he got taken out by everybody but Bryan. It took like 3 or 4 guys to take him out. It wasn't Daniel Bryan and Big Show being the last 2. Now, Daniel Bryan retaining the belt is fine. I love that. Especially since it's proven my point that they're setting up Sheamus versus Bryan, because Sheamus came out and took out Bryan after the match. So we know that's set up for Mania. Great. But what about the Big Show? I mean, I know Big Show is going off to face Shaq in Mania. I understand that, but this is how you're going to blow off the feud? I mean, now we have to start Sheamus versus Bryan because Sheamus has already assaulted Bryan, so now that starts a new feud. So Big Show never gets his revenge? I mean, isn't the good guy supposed to conquer in the end regardless? I mean, even if he didn't win the belt, he could at least beat him down or something. I mean, I don't know. He never really got his revenge. If you want to be technical about it, Big Show should have won the belt here. If you want to be, like, realistic here in terms of booking and wrestling, he should have won the belt. Even though I wouldn't have agreed with it, and I think Daniel Bryan should have been going to Mania, and he is, thank God. But that's technically how it should have went, because Big Show should have got his revenge here. The revenge probably should have happened sooner. This is ridiculous. There's no blow off to this feud, and now we're going on to another one. So it just ends in the air. I mean, that's WWE. Come on. Now I'll give WWE credit here for one thing, and then this is the one thing I'm going to give them credit for the whole night for this pay-per-view, because I mean I paid full price for this pay-per-view, people. I didn't go to a bar and watch it. I just didn't want to go out. I bought it. I paid for it. I watched it here. And I'm upset that I paid for it full price because it was bad. But one of the things that I could really say that WWE really stuck a sore thumb out and did, because I wouldn't have expected them to do, is to have Santino Marella not only stay in the match, but actually be the last guy to get eliminated before Daniel Bryan retains. It was him and Bryan for the last 2 guys. The last little couple of minutes of that match were great. Loved it. I didn't think they were going to stretch Santino that far, and they did. You know, all that hyping they gave him, and it truly made people believe. People were behind him so hardcore. Santino's one of the most over guys they have. People love Santino. The WWE really had people believing that Santino was going to win the belt. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about, okay? That underdog type thing with Daniel Bryan and these smaller guys. That's the kind of shit they need to do. They need to get people behind people like they're behind Santino. Okay? Play off that underdog story. He doesn't have to win all the time. The underdog does not always have to win, but inevitably at one point when he does, it's going to be great. And this is just one of those times that WWE played the underdog story perfect. It was great. Yes, Santino didn't win. It would have made no sense because no build for him, really. There's nothing. He hasn't done anything to really deserve the spot. But to have the underdog, who was the most least likely guy to ever last in that match at all, be down to the very wire and be the second to last guy. He was in the last 2 guys to be in that match. It was just him and Bryan before Bryan actually submitted him. That's incredible for him. And that really impressed me about WWE, because I don't expect WWE to ever do shit like that. But they went there, and that makes me believe that we are heading in a new direction. But until, you know, WWE proves me otherwise about the whole paper thing with John Cena and other people that I'm not going to mention right now, then, or other person I'm not going to mention right now, then I'm just going to stand with my point until they prove me otherwise yet still. And the reason being my point stands is because the next match in this card was the ambulance match, Kane and John Cena. And I unfortunately have to talk about this mockery of shit, okay? First of all, the match was okay. It started off slow, it got better as it went. There were some good spots in it. All these matches tonight had good spots. The wrestling was good in these matches for the majority. It was decent. Just the booking of the whole thing was crap. But this particularly right here, why was this? I said, well, why are we doing this? Why do we have Kane versus John Cena? Okay, Kane never got the one up. Okay, John stayed up on this thing the whole fucking time. What was the point of this? John Cena's not heel. What was the point of this feud? It's just filler until John Cena faces The Rock at Mania. So this is pointless. Why not give this time slot to some undercard guy that actually deserves it? Now, granted, I understand that WWE doesn't give two shits about their undercard. If they did, then this match would not be the main event. If they did, we would have had more announced matches instead of random matches like Jack Swagger, okay, versus Justin Gabriel for United States Championships. When I didn't even know that Jack Swagger was the champ. I thought it was Ryder. But Swagger won it on Superstars, and who watches Superstars? That's online. So WWE doesn't give two shits about the damn mid-card, so I should expect shit like this. John Cena's still number one, and this match fucking proved it. And it was pointless, because it did nothing for John Cena. It did nothing but bury Kane after you brought him back as this monster heel. Okay, and now you just bury him? Just to put over John Cena for nothing, because it didn't put him any more over than he already is. He didn't turn heel. There's been no character change. You've just misled us, and you've just sat here and fed us right in our face that he is going to turn heel, and it has not happened, and it will not. WWE is chicken shit. This isn't a title match, people. This is not a title match, but it was the main event of this card. So, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are not more important than John Cena, but they're your champions for your respective brands. Really? Okay. Final thoughts on the pay-per-view. Now, the pay-per-view itself, a build to this pay-per-view first, actually. I liked it. I thought they did a good job building to the show. We only knew about 4 matches. We knew there was going to be excess filler. There always is. But for those 4 matches, we had build to them. So I'm not going to bitch too much about the build for this pay-per-view. I'll give it like a C, a solid C in terms of its build. The show itself, booking-wise, you know, how they booked it and how it turned out, I'm going to have to give this show a D. I'm not happy with the results. And in terms of the wrestling, I'll give this show a C+. It was fair. Overall grading for this show, build, the show itself, overall entertainment value, the booking decisions made at the show, I will give this show a C-. That's my final thoughts. Leave your thoughts down below. This is your boy Lou, Wrestling 2 101. Hit the subscribe button. You already know what it is. Peace.